When John Walker walked into that divorce courtroom in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, he had one job: stand under oath, look the judge in the eye and lie. "Your Honor," he said, "my business is bankrupt. There's nothing left, my wife gets nothing." "Your Honor," he said, "my business is bankrupt. There's nothing left, my wife gets nothing." 10 years of marriage, 2 kids, and John swore he was broke. But John made one mistake. One stupid $1.5 million mistake. He forgot that bank statements don't forget, and the internet is forever. Today, we're opening the file on how a single, redacted PDF exposed a massive web of hidden assets. Let's look at the receipts. Sarah met John in 2010. He was charming, ambitious, a self-made entrepreneur who built a logistics company from scratch. By 2015, they were married. By 2018, John's company, let's call it J&A Logistics, was pulling in nearly $4 million a year. Big house, German cars, a lifestyle that looked bulletproof. But behind closed doors, the marriage was falling apart. Sarah filed for divorce in January of 2023, and that's when the nightmare began. John's lawyers submitted a financial affidavit claiming J&A Logistics was technically insolvent, bankrupt, zero cash flow. John said he'd taken massive loans to keep the business afloat, and now there was nothing left to divide. Sarah's lawyer asked for bank statements. John provided them. 47 pages of boring business accounts, all showing zero balance, case closed, right, wrong. A tiny footnote on page 32. On paper, J&A Logistics was broke, zero cash, nothing left. But when Sarah's lawyer pulled the transaction history, a different story started whispering through the numbers. Every Friday, like clockwork, tiny transfers left the bankrupt business account. $250 here, $400 there. $375 the next week. Small enough to look boring, regular enough to be a pattern. Each payment landed in the same place, John's personal Venmo. And from there, the money didn't stay, it hopped again, this time into an account tied to a single email address, an email that just happened to belong to John's brother. One transfer is nothing, but over months, those little payments quietly added up to tens of thousands of dollars. A strange luxury for a man who swore his company was bleeding out. When John was pressed in court, he had an explanation ready: those payments, just consulting fees for his brother. On the stand, he painted Mark as some kind of behind-the-scenes business guru, the man he relied on for advice when times got tough. There was just one problem: Mark isn't a consultant. He's a plumber. He fixes pipes, not profit margins. $50,000 for advice from a guy who spends his days under kitchen sinks. Even the judge raised an eyebrow, so Sarah's lawyer went deeper. The Cayman Islands aren't exactly known for their beaches and courtrooms. They're known for something else: secrecy. That one email subject line was enough. Sarah's lawyer followed it like a blood trail. Subpoenas went out, and after weeks of silence, one bank finally answered. But in the name of a shell company he controlled in the shadows, Walker Holdings International. This wasn't a savings account, it was a vault. And when the court order finally cracked it open, one December 2022 statement told the real story, line by line, fee by fee, ending in a number John never planned for Sarah or the judge to see: $1,547,892.43. Sitting quietly offshore while John swore under oath that he was broke. Now, you might be wondering, why is this such a big deal? It's his money, he earned it. Here's the thing about divorce law, specifically what's called equitable distribution. When you get married in Florida, most assets acquired during the marriage are considered marital property. That means they belong to both spouses, not just the one who earned them. By hiding that $1.5 million in an offshore account, John didn't just lie to his wife. He lied under oath. He committed perjury. He committed fraud on the court. And here's the kicker. When a judge finds out you've hidden assets, they can award the wife the entire hidden amount as a penalty in legal terms. John just turned a $750,000 problem into a $1.5 million disaster. John's lawyers tried to argue the Cayman account was a business contingency fund. The judge didn't buy it. The ruling, the $1.5 million in the Cayman account, awarded 100% to Sarah. John's business assets, frozen and reappraised. Legal fees? John pays for both sides an additional $240,000. And the kicker, the judge referred John to the state attorney's office for criminal investigation into perjury. But he forgot one thing: bank statements don't have feelings. They don't take sides. They don't forget. They just sit there waiting until someone, look,